Fortune and Folly is a standalone scenario pack for Arkham Horror the card game. It has two parts that don't need to be completed in the same sitting. You can play it as a side quest in between parts of a campaign, and it has a special tie-in with the Scarlet Keys.
Make sure you stay to the end for special surprises!
Hello investigators! If you want to avoid spoilers as much as possible, then consider watching our Fortune and Folly top 10 questions video, as that may be just enough information for you. And if you usually have someone else in your group set up the scenario, then feel free to skip this video so you can play it totally unspoiled.
Stop telling people not to watch the videos!
If you do fancy something a bit more comprehensive but without any gameplay spoilers, then don your disguises as we are going in. Once per year, Fantasy Flight Games creates a new standalone scenario to play at either the Gen Con gaming convention in the US or the International Arkham Nights events, or both. A standalone pack is a self-contained adventure where all the cards you need are included within the product, so you won't need any of the encounter sets from the core box or any expansions, and it contains no new player cards to use in deck building. It has an initial convention-exclusive release produced using print-on-demand technology with oversized packaging and Arkham Nights or Gen Con branding. It is then released for general sale the following year. So today we'll be looking at the Arkham Nights exclusive version of Fortune and Folly. This was given away to those who attended the October 2022 event at the Game Center in Minnesota, USA, and it is also available exclusively from them until April 2023 and the retail version is released. There are 4 key differences between these iterations, and we will use last year's Machinations Through Time to illustrate this. Most obvious is the oversized packaging, which is a pain to store but is a recyclable category 1 plastic if you want to ditch it. Secondly, the retail version has the rules in a folded stapled booklet, and the event version has them on loose cards the same size as the booklet pages. As a game organizer, the cards are definitely much better, as you can leave the unneeded ones like the post-game resolution and optional variants in the box away from the players. Plus, once you are done with a pre-game step like the Chaos Bag composition, setup instructions, or all those pages of waffling story text, you can get it off the table and back in the packaging. Next, the convention exclusive edition has the Arkham Nights 2022 logo on the front of the pack. Last year it had the logo printed all over the cards, but thankfully they have dropped this idea. Finally, the convention edition of this item was produced domestically using lower cost printing machines, so you may notice a difference in the resolution or vibrancy of the colours. However, because this is self-contained, you won't be mixing encounter sets together, and if you play it standalone you won't be taking any story assets with you, so it shouldn't be a problem. The most important thing to note about print-on-demand cards is the cheaper materials and lack of any top layer lamination means they don't handle water well at all. Any kind of unchecked spill or even high levels of dampness or humidity can cause the cards to stick together or to adhere to the packaging, which will result in damage when you try and remove them. Trust us, we are definitely experts when it comes to water damage. As there is plenty of room in your oversized pack, do drop some silica gel in there. The front has a scene from a busy casino, and the rear explains that your team of investigators must rob said sinister casino in Monte Carlo, which has acquired a powerful relic of the sort that humankind was not meant to know. It also says it is for 1 to 4 players, so there is no epic multiplayer shenanigans. Opening up the massive blister pack, you can see the back and front cover art is on an unfixed piece of cardboard. Inside there are 16 loose rule cards and 2 packs of shrink-wrap cards, with a potential spoiler. These are 39 cards each, making a total product size of 78 cards. It is a regular scenario with agenda, act, locations, enemy and treachery cards, plus some keywords we have seen before and 1 new mechanic created specifically for this product. The FFG website has a preview article if you want to find out more but don't want to see the full rules. Otherwise, let's grab our martinis and get ready to play some Baccarat. Page 1 has the expansion symbol, which is a very thematic poker chip. It's nice when you can actually tell what this thing is supposed to represent, right? It also has a slightly different version of the blurb on the rear. They've got rid of the exclamation mark here, for instance.
Never!
Page 2 lets you know you can play in standalone or side story mode and has the standalone chaos bag set up for 2 difficulty levels. No easy for you, you big softy. It explains what a side story is, which is just like a mini quest in an RPG basically. And page 3 lets you know this will cost your investigators 3 experience if you want to insert this between 2 of your campaign scenarios. If you are playing this as part of the Scarlet Keys campaign, assuming it has arrived in your country, it will cost you 3 time units as described in the Embarking and Travel rules on page 10 of the campaign guide, and don't spend any XP. It also explains that you can play the 2 parts of this adventure straight after each other, or take a break in between using the checkpoint system you may have seen in the Edge of the Earth campaign. This game uses the patrol and alarm mechanics from previous scenarios, and it has full rules for them, including the specialist interactions with this scenario. There are also some special rules for one of the story assets. Now we come to the new mechanic, game icons. The cards in the encounter deck have many of the same symbols as you would find in a standard deck of playing cards. When you visit the different games in the casino, you try your luck by discarding these cards and checking the icons revealed in this way. Now, they didn't need to go to all this trouble, as there have been many cards and scenarios that have used the chaos tokens to represent chance or gambling, but putting them on the actual card seems much more immersive and thematic, not to mention memorable. Plus, there are so many cards that sabotage the randomness of the token draw aspect of this game, players could have an advantage. It's cool, alright, and not as complex as you might fear. Plus, you can often take a mulligan with the cards you reveal to increase your chances of obtaining a favourable set of icons. Don't forget that the encounter discard pile is open information and any player can look through it at any time, thus helping you figure the odds of a favourable draw. Next up is the new card type, a lone copy of a key. If you've watched our unboxing of the Scarlet Keys campaign, you will know all about these. And if not, then why not? This is one of the ways in which this scenario tries to integrate itself into the Scarlet Keys campaign, and you may wish to deliberately include this pack as a side story for this very reason. Look how close it is to London. Just saying. But key cards are specific to the Scarlet Keys cycle, so if you aren't playing that when you visit Monte Carlo, then you are instructed to treat the card as blank, although you could house rule it if you have access to the campaign guide and know how they work. In short, they are kind of like a double-sided asset that has a beneficial ability on one side which flips the card to its detrimental side when you activate it. They have really distinct borders and their name box is on the bottom of the card, so hopefully you won't get them mixed up with your other cards. Moving on are 4 pages of intro text divided into 5 sections. You won't read them all as there is a separate entry for those playing this part of the Scarlet Keys campaign. It just helps with a smoother narrative is all. Next up is the whole page of leads giving you hints and clues to help your group decide which locations to prioritize and which characters you want to talk to, similar to those found in the Scarlet Keys campaign guide. There are 2 pages of setup instructions, a handy map to lay out the locations and patrol routes, and then you are all done, and all by page 16. Once you have completed the first part, there are instructions on diving straight into the last part, or if you have run out of time and need to pack everything away, what to write in your campaign log so you can resume at a later date. Then everything pretty much repeats, with rumours, 2 different setups depending on if you took a break or not, and then the resolution text for the second part. There are a couple of extra lines if you are playing this as part of the Scarlet Keys, but nothing wild. Then there's a sliding scale of bonus rewards depending on how well you did in your heist, with an easy to follow checklist. So there is certainly incentive to play the scenario to try and do better. Particularly if you want to take some of those rewards into the next scenario of a campaign.
Don't forget about the rolls!
Sausage rolls? I'd love one, thanks.
The roll cards!
Oh, right. Like any good heist movie, every member of your party has a part to play. There are 4 roles to be divided between the investigators. The grifter, the thief, the muscle and the face. It's just like the A-Team. Sort of. Oh, well, not really. Anyway, everyone gets a roll card with a little bonus ability to help them carry out their assigned task, which they can get better at over time. That's a neat little feature. No, we're not going to spoil them. And anyone mad enough to play true solo with just a single investigator gets to choose 2 of the roles, which is certainly a helping hand. If you fail, you will undoubtedly want to try again, and there is a promise of escalating rewards. This product does use story cards, and you will get 1 card from a set of 3 drawn randomly each game to spice up your session. There are no duplicate locations or other variants chosen at random to make it feel different each time. Unlike many scenarios, there is no list of optional variants included either. But the variety of casino games on offer and the choice of role your investigator takes on, coupled with the fact that your plan can go south at various points, certainly has the potential for diverse experiences. We do want to give a special mention to the excellent artwork on show. Arkham locations can be dingy, nocturnal, or sinisterly dark. It always makes a lovely change to see brightly lit, vibrant locations where you can work out what is going on and appreciate the small details. Also, everything is well coordinated, with the style and atmosphere remaining consistent across the cards. Like the uniforms of the staff, for instance. And if you find yourself falling for Arkham's very own Jessica Rabbit here, you can check out the work of Victoria Gavrilenko on his Instagram, ArtStation and DeviantArt pages. Nothing Arkham related sadly, but his subjects have most of their clothes on, so it's okay if your mum walks in.
What are you up to now?
Nothing, dearest. You can use this larger blister pack to easily store the cards no matter how chunky your sleeves are, along with some tokens. If you have this event exclusive edition, we definitely recommend sleeving your rule cards given how susceptible to water damage like sweat from your fingers these are. Brace yourself, but this is what happens when you don't sleeve them. If you are an event organizer and you'll be buying copies to run repeatedly at events, then this should be a no-brainer, particularly in COVID times. We found that the tiny epic kingdoms from Mayday games were great if you wanted a really snug fit. But if you like more flap at the top of your cards, you can use the Swan Pan Asia Cutthroat Cavern size. Both of these are pretty thin, so if you want a more premium thickness, Sleeve Kings do a tiny Epic Kingdom size, and Paladin sleeves have their Pelennor size, which is the same snug fit width-wise as the Mayday and Sleeve Kings but is taller, as well as being thicker. But if you need maximum protection, 3.5 by 5 1/8 inch top loaders are the ultimate choice. Good news, thrifty purchasers. Despite what the folks on eBay will tell you, exclusive doesn't mean limited or necessarily expensive. The Game Center in the USA has this for sale to you, the Great Unwashed Masses, for about the same price as a regular standalone. And as a print-on-demand item, they will keep printing copies until you stop demanding they take your money. This is terribly convenient if you are a US resident, but if you live overseas, then shipping and customs charges may play a big factor in your purchasing decision. Do try and order more than 1 copy to try and spread the cost of shipping. Team up with a friend, game group, or people in your local internet spaces to try and save some cash. Or just blow that tax rebate of yours and treat yourself to a well-deserved Christmas birthday gift. The Game Center has a huge amount of options when shipping stuff to you, but based on the bulk and weight of your order, they now only show you a few at a time. These are the prices for a single copy to the UK, and the great news is there is actually a postage option that is cheaper than the scenario itself. And they handily estimate the import charges that will be due when it arrives in the UK. Which, if you are wondering why it varies for each option, that is because when importing goods to the UK, you are charged on the total value of the purchase, including the shipping. So, the greater your postage cost, the larger your tax bill, despite the fact that UK domestic postage is tax exempt. Let's try and decode some of these options for you. Flat Export is a service offered by a company called EasyShip, where they act as kind of an intermediary between you and the post office and the courier services to get you a better deal. Ascendia is a joint venture between the French La Poste and Switzerland's Swiss Post to try and offer cheap international services. The ePack Plus is the second slowest of their 4 international options. UPS is the United Parcel Service with their brown and gold vans you've probably seen before. And despite the name, Worldwide Saver is one of the fastest international services UPS offers, for all you late shoppers out there. Now check out the prices for 2 copies. It's easier if we do it side by side. It is literally just $4 more, so if you can find a friend you would save $12 between you. And the price for 3 copies? Did you see it change? Yes, no, yes, no? Let's look at 2 and 3 together. That's right, the shipping prices are identical, but you can see the tax liability is different, so we haven't just got our screenshots mixed up. This is literally why we are always banging on about teaming up with other people to save postage. And one of your options is now USPS, which is the United States Postal Service, not the United Parcel Service. And First Class International is one of their slowest services. Here are the prices for 5 copies if you are running an Arkham event, and 10 copies if you want to get all your Christmas shopping done in one go. Notice how we said expedited sounds like a faster service, but is actually slower and less expensive than Saver. It's all very eldritch.
Speed it up, this sausage roll's getting cold.
You will get a bunch of emails from Game Center and a tracking link where you can track the progress depending on the courier. If you do choose UPS, then they will deliver it all the way to your door. If you choose other services, particularly the US Postal Service option, then they hand it off to your local national postal provider. Which sucks if they're on strike, right?
That's it, I'm rolling the credits.
Just 1 more minute. Game Center say they try and ship your order within 1 to 2 business days, but take note that US holidays will be different than your own. And if you are ordering next year's scenario the day it is announced, be aware you will be in a queue of hundreds, if not thousands of customers, and that 1 to 2 days will totally go out the window. Finally, we want to give a shout out to our patrons, whose funding allows us to order tons of individual copies of this scenario just so we can test out all the different postage options and give you 100% accurate information, because that is the Arkham Chronicle way.
This is the way.
Well, we at the Arkham Chronicle are here to give you the facts, not personal opinions. Oh cripes! Lita, where are we going to find 4 patsies at short notice who love speaking their minds?
I have just the stooges you're looking for.
How competent are they?
Well, remotely competent.
That's close enough. So, welcome to this special surprise crossover episode with the Card Game Cooperative. For anyone not in the know, they are the Beatles of living card games. Basically because there are 4 of them and they have dodgy haircuts. This video is far too long, but if you want more Fortune and Folly coverage and gameplay feedback, then head over to them and check out their episode. If you want to win your very own copy of Fortune and Folly, then tell us. If you were designing a standalone scenario, what would you call it? What would the name of your scenario be? Leave your answers in the comments below. We will pick one by some arcane means either once we pass 25 entries or by the 15th of December. So keep checking back as you only have 24 hours to respond if we reply to your comment.